Okay, so we've all been there. Maybe in different capacity though.
Yeah.
When you are making major life decisions, maybe it's moving to a new city, maybe it's starting a new job or changing your career. Maybe it's deciding I'm going to marry this person. Maybe it's making a big financial decision, investing in stocks or buying a house, whatever that is. We've all had those major life decisions, and sometimes the people we love who are closest to us, our family, who are supposed to be there and be our supporters, our number one fans, aren't supportive of those decisions. So my question, we're going to get into this topic and sort of tackle, what to do when that happens, when your family just isn't supportive of you. But Brittany, have you ever been in this situation, and can you explain what it was?
I have been in this situation, and when Raven texted me before getting here, so I could kind of think about it and stuff like that. And when I was thinking about what I went through, with my parents, just not really understanding my career, which I think that happens, especially in social media, or if you work in entertainment or whatever it is, if it's not what they think you should be doing. And I was kind of getting into old tapes, old little things that were coming through my head, and I was getting kind of mad. So then when I started to feel angry, I was like, whoa, what is coming up for me right now? This is weird. Why am I still upset by this? So then I took a moment to do some research, and I was like, whoa, I need to research some boundaries. What's my deal? I feel like we're never done healing. We think we're done. We might think we're over it, but we're not.
True.
So I was like, I'm over this. So I wasn't. And I looked up this thing on Goop. I'm sure you've seen some of this stuff. I know you've researched this extensively, but this doctor said that we have to make a shift with ourselves and the way that we look at our parents as well. So this kind of took a totally deep turn for me, of course. I started doing reflection and stuff.
And this was when
This was today.
Oh, today?
Today. Just today, Raven.
Whoa.
I had not gone in there and thought of this in a long time. So my initial response was going to be, okay, well, I went through all this stuff when I was in my late 20s, and I was sticking with my sports reporting stuff, having a dream of having a TV show someday. My parents, even my brother, who's one of my best friends, I love him so much, he was worried about me. He was like, I'm worried about you. You're not making a lot of money. You're not. And so I felt really shitty and a lot of shame because I wasn't being successful in the eyes of my family.
Yes.
So that was what I was initially going to tell you. But before we get into some healing stuff, I want to know about you also. Have you experienced this, or are you going through it now?
No, I've experienced it in so many different ways. The one thing I was going to bring up was my biggest life decision to date was buying a house.
Yeah.
And this was something my parents had been on board for the longest. They knew I had a mass amount of money saved up and was ready to make that commitment. But then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And my parents strongly advised, do not buy a house. They automatically thought the housing market could crash. We don't know what the economy is going to do in months from now. Who knows if you'll have a job, Raven? So many worries and fears. And so their instinct was to do whatever they could to protect me, which was, play it safe.
Yeah.
Stay in the apartment, keep saving money, keep doing da-da-da-da. But it just didn't align with what I wanted.
Right.
And that was tough for me because, we spend our whole lives listening to our parents. Mm-hmm. There are advisors up until at least we're 18. And I have such a close relationship with my parents. I'm an only child, and I always seek their counsel.
That must be even more of a bond and pressure.
Yes.
I bring up my brother, but that's kind of our buffer. We have each other.
Right.
But if it's just you with your parents, I can imagine that'd be a lot of closeness and pressure, and
so much pressure. Mm-hmm. And they've had their reservations about things. When I told them I wanted to go into radio, into broadcasting, they were like, what? My dad said, why don't you get a business degree?
Right.
They just don't.
Dads. That's a dad thing for sure, isn't it?
Yes. Very logical. Make money, work hard, have a 9-to-5.
Have that security, that safety, right?
Right,
that
exactly.
Nest. Our parents want us to go from their nest to another, even safer nest.
Exactly. One that they want to build for us.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. It's almost like they can't help themselves.
I know, though, when I was, looking to buy my house, my parents I didn't have their support, especially my dad's support, who I really needed his help to buy a house. Like, hello, he's bought 3. So help me, Dad. You're supposed to. When I didn't have a support, I felt, oh my gosh, like I didn't have anything. Yeah. I know that sounds kind of dramatic, but it was just like, I really felt like I can't do this then. I know that sounds.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't sound weird.
Well, you think, Raven, you're a full-grown adult. It's your life. You do you. But I don't know what it was. It was just such like an emotional tie there with needing their approval that I truly thought, I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to do it. Now, spoiler alert, I did. And that's what I kind of want to talk about.
You did it anyway. Like, props for that. That's not easy to go stand up for yourself in that way when you feel like you're kind of alone.
Right. But that's just what you have to do, because the truth is your parents or your family or people aren't going to be supportive. Not everyone's going to be supportive. You can't please everyone. And so that's what we're talking about today, is what to do when your family, those closest to you, your friend, whoever in your circle, in your tight-knit circle that you value, don't see where you're coming from in your life decisions. So the first thing is, it's so important to understand their concerns. They love you.
Yeah, for sure.
They don't want to see you fall flat on your face. They don't want to see you fail. They don't want to see you hurt. So their natural instinct is to protect, just like I said. So that's where my parents were coming from. They didn't want they didn't want me to go bankrupt. Right. They didn't want the economy to crash and me to be totally screwed. They didn't want me to lose my job and then not know how to pay my mortgage. Right. What you'll notice, though, a lot of these concerns are fear-based. And I don't live my life based in fear. Yeah. Like, I don't make decisions. I don't make fear-based decisions. So that's one thing. What about you? When it came to understanding where your family was coming from and any sort of pushback they gave you on your decision making.
Like I said, I'm just now processing a deeper part of it.
I know, I kind of feel
I can't freaking believe it. It's good. No, it was actually super helpful because I just went through something recently with so I'm going to change lanes, with my wedding. So this is how I know it's kind of also still there. Like, the wound is still a little bit open. Long story short, we eloped because of the pandemic and all that stuff going on. And my mom was like devastated. And I felt horrible. Like, it really like gutted me. And then I was like, why am I being so yes, like I understand her concerns, but like she should understand my concerns. And I think that my inclination is to kind of like try to rush in for the save to like have that closeness with my mother. Right. And so this, let me just read you a little thing, Raven, because I found this and this made me feel so much better. According to therapist Carter Stout, a healthy relationship between any grown adult and their parents should involve a shift around early adulthood when the parents should step down from their position as caretakers and look their children in the eye as equals. That requires a change of perspective on both ends. Grown children recognize that their parents are people. They need to see them as flawed and probably trying their best. And parents recognize their children aren't children anymore. So he talks about how your parents have to see you as children, as their children, but not as children. So it's like they have to start observing your boundaries. And even if it's uncomfortable, you have to stick with it. So yes, it's just like an article I found in Goop. And I was like, okay, wow. Like, I need to just be okay with it not feeling okay sometimes. Yes. So that's what I came to today, literally because of your prompt.
Well, and that's literally the next thing to do. So after you look at that, why pay $100 an hour when
Astrocandy?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
After you understand where they're coming from and their concerns, accept that you won't have their support and understand that you don't need their approval.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like, it's hard to do. You kind of have to mourn that you don't have them backing you up, but guess what? You don't need them. Like, I know it's a mind-blowing concept because you spend, again, half your life more than, seeking their approval. And when you disappoint them, when you're a small child, that resonates with you in a way that it affects you in your adulthood. And so it's kind of breaking away from that, setting up those boundaries, like Brittany said, and realizing, hey, my parents are just people. Yep. And your parents realizing this is my child, but not a child, full-grown adult. The next thing you want to do is find people who do support you. There are so many people who are buying homes, or if you were in my position, or breaking into the entertainment industry or changing their career path or getting married without their parents' approval. So many support groups, so many people who know people who know people. Just ask around and those people will support you.
Yeah, you find your tribe.
Absolutely.
You definitely do.
So once you've kind of accepted that, I would just keep them out of it. And what I did when I was buying a house was just update them on the little victories. Hey, we had the inspection today. Hey, it's getting appraised. Like letting them know, hey, things are good. Even though you're not, all in, things are happening over here and everything's aligned. And once they kind of see results, because let's be honest, people shy away from what they don't know. They fear what they don't know. Once they kind of see, okay, like, look, you still have a job and you're going through this home buying process and shit's not hitting the fan, they'll come out of their cave and be more supportive.
Totally. Like they're going to be the first ones that are supportive and like, like we love your house. And like my parents, they love my husband. Like they're glad it happened. It's just like, there's a fear or like a fear of feeling left out or like not being able to take care of you. It's like all these things are triggered for our parents. Right. Which then triggers us, and it can be a whole thing if we don't become like mindful of it.
Absolutely.
I love this topic. I think it's really deep, and sometimes it's still there, even if you think you've overcome it completely.
Right. Yeah, like what
From
you
my perspective.
I know, like what you said.
For myself here.
All I did was like, hey, just so you know, like bring a situation, a scenario to this topic, and then Brittany was like, oh my god,
that. I was like driving, and then I was like, wait, and like
she did all her shadow work.
Did so much shadow work today.
And then the last thing that you can do is just keep in mind, this is your life. You're the only person who has to live this life. Your parents don't need to live in the new house. They don't need to marry the guy. They don't need to, change the career. Ultimately, it's you at the end of the day who has to experience this existence. So you better be happy doing it. And it does not mean that you need anybody else's happiness to factor into that, if that makes sense. Like no one else needs to be happy that you're doing it.
I got goosebumps on my legs.
Great topic today.
Raven. That was freaking good.
I had a good time with that. I mean, it's just something that we all go through. It's not as talked about as I think it should be. But
agreed. Or sometimes we have these unhealthy patterns or like feelings of guilt or anger, and it can be lingering if we don't like address it. Like I had guilt feelings. I didn't really realize it till today. So like, good to think about, like good to bring it up and heal it.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because when you think about it, you can work through it and then heal it. The modern day mantra today is, if you don't control your life, someone else will.
Oh, yikes.
That's from John Atkinson Grimshaw. And that's pretty much just what I said. Like, it's your life. You have to live it. No one else is going to live it for you. Next week, Brittany is talking about, I believe, our rising signs and how they affect our physical features and
your
demeanor, all that stuff.
I mean,
it's going to be a fun topic. Very astro. Part of Astrocandy. So we'll see you next week. Thanks for hanging, guys. I thought I was running out of time. And I was just going to say, follow us on all the things at Astrocandy Podcast. If you love this episode or any other ones, please rate, review, subscribe, and tell a friend. Okay?
Awesome.
Bye.
And now with the extra time, Raven is going to sing a song.
La da 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 da. No, JK.